When I started flight school, I thought I was ready for the cost. I did the research, I looked everything up, but what I didn't expect was all the surprise fees. Fuel cost, fuel hikes, equipment cost, everything was a cost. It all added up so fast. So in this video, what I'm going to go over is basically everything I've spent so far from the beginning of flight school till now, and how I'm trying to save money where I can. I'm Olivier, currently a flight attendant, dad of 6, and I'm training to become a commercial pilot. I'm documenting this journey to help anyone else who's dreaming of becoming a pilot and showing what it's really like. So far, going through this journey has been quite amazing. It's been really fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying every minute of it. Every day is another lesson or another experience, good day or bad day. We have a lot of ups and downs. I give myself a hard time sometimes just because, I feel like I'm not doing enough. But in reality, I'm doing a lot, taking care of a family of 6, trying to go to work every day or every other day, being a flight attendant and doing flight school. It's challenging. And not only that, it costs a lot. So times were different. If I was single or, if I had no family, it'd be a lot easier because, costs would be different. I would have money to just, keep going to flight school. But now that's not the case. So having a family and going to flight school, it's expensive. You try to nickel and dime to make sure you can afford everything and take care of your family. So this video here is just to give you a breakdown of, my start for private pilot. That's what I'm at right now. I'm going through my first license, my first course, which is private lessons. And just the cost breakdown for that alone, just to show you realistically what it's like, what you'll be facing. There's 2 different ways you can go about it. I just made another video. I'll post that up on my shorts. I also have a shorts page. Check it out. But part 61 versus part 141. Part 61 is more laid back, take it at your own pace, and it's more flexible. So you can do that with a private instructor. You can do it, that's really the way you do it, is with a private instructor or, a school that is not really FAA accredited for that part 141 program. You get fly at your own pace, but it also costs more in the end. Because you're, doing things a little bit slower. Part 141 is more your universities, your flight schools that are accredited through the FAA a certain way, so you can fly through a curriculum, through a structured schedule, and it's more fast-paced, fast environment, but you get it done faster. Sometimes it's cheaper, not all the time, but it's just another way you can do flight school. There's 2 ways you can do a part 61 and part 141. And I'll make another video for that because it's a lot to cover on those 2 parts right there. So I'll start just with how I started flight school and what it took and just kind of the steps and the pricing. And I'll just try to put it up here and show you, all the costs that I encountered up until today. And there's a lot of surprises. It really is. Fuel is one of them. One day you might fly shorter, because it's windy. One day you might fly longer because, it's a perfect day. But that fuel adds up. You pay for fuel as you go. Well, in this school I currently do. So my first cost originally was a discovery flight. I wanted to know that this is what I want to do. So before saying, hey, I'm going to go be a pilot and start school, I took a discovery flight. Discovery flight allows you to go up with an instructor, and they just kind of show you what it's like in a small plane, what you're doing, the maneuvers, different things. They let you take the wheel. My first discovery flight was actually, I took 2 of them, I think, but first one was in California. My second one was here in Arizona. And he let me take off, which was pretty cool, good experience. And you get to turn the wheel, you get to maneuver, just see what it feels like. It's very different from a regular commercial big plane. So you got to make sure you're ready for that because you're going to be spending 1,000 hours, if not more. Yeah, you need 1,500 hours to make it to an airline. So you're going to be spending at least 1,500 hours in one of these small planes. You want to make sure you're comfortable with it, and it's something you actually really, really want to do. So my first cost was for a discovery flight. That was about $250 right off the bat. $250, go up for about an hour and a half, really an hour. and then, you know, you just kind of see what it feels like and see if it's something for you. And if it is, boom, that's how you know, yes, this is what I want to do. And that's what it was for me. Right as I took off with my first discovery flight, I knew it was for me. So I went ahead and continued and pursued my dream. It was always a dream for me. I did it, and now I know that I want to stick to it. So that was one of my first costs right there, about $250. Second cost for me was my medical expense. So medicals, you have to have a FAA medical in order to be cleared to be an airline pilot. So usually before you start any school, they want you to have this just to know that you're not wasting money and wasting time. And then you go to take a medical and you don't pass. You can't get a medical, class 1 medical or first class medical. So that's something you want to get out the way in the beginning, because you don't want to go spend a whole bunch of money on flight school and all of a sudden you find out you can't even qualify for a class 1. There's a lot of things, red flags, things in the middle that can disqualify you. And they want to know everything. So it's something you just want to get out the way before you start flight school. Just know that you're medically qualified to fly a commercial plane if your dream is to be a commercial airline pilot. So that right there cost me about $350. That was my first one. So the first one's always more expensive, and every 2 years or whenever you do it, it costs about half that. So my first one, just because they had no history with me, they had to do the full-on test. It was about $350. So right there, that's another expense you want to make sure you're prepared for. I enjoy this. I enjoy connecting with you guys, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like and subscribe my page. Follow me for more info. All right, so next expense down the list is my ground supplies. Okay, ground school materials, books, all that 9 yards, everything for your iPad. I'm not even talking about electronics yet, but that's just things you need to make sure you're ready to study and ready to go up in there, all that stuff. So behind me is a chart. It's my Phoenix chart right there. That's a price. It's probably $10 for that, or $7, but that's your yearly chart. You have to get one. Another one, including ForeFlight. ForeFlight was probably the most expensive of all the materials. All those things, that's apps that you need. It adds up. So you don't think about it, but it costs a pretty penny. So ForeFlight by itself was about $200 for my yearly subscription. So I have to renew it every year. All the books that I have and updated charts. I would say ground material, just in general, for everything, cost about anywhere from $300 to $500. Let's just keep it in that scale. You can be as cheap as me, or you can be as a lavish, bougie as you want. But you're going to spend anywhere from $300 to $500 just for those ground materials and whatnot. All right, now let's talk about gear. Gear is important. You need your gear. You need your headset. You need your iPad for your ForeFlight. You need, glasses, sunglasses, whatever you need for gear to make sure you can, fly the plane comfortably. You need these things. These are just givens, all right? So let's start first with my headset. Now, I got a pretty nice headset. These are David Clark's. They're really good. They're actually recommended for student pilots. It's a great headset. I love it, and it sounds really good. Everybody says, oh yeah, go get the Bose. Well, I don't have no Bose money right now. Wait till I become a pilot, I get a Bose. But these are just as good as the Bose, I feel. The only thing it lacks is Bluetooth, but I'm not trying to listen to music or anything like that while I'm being a student pilot. So these alone were $370. This right here, $370, and they go all the way up to about $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. Yeah, these are good enough for me. They work great. Take care of them because they're expensive, okay? So that was one. You need an iPad. It's easiest. You can use your iPhone or you can use an iPad. I feel like the iPad is great because it's a bigger screen. You can put your ForeFlight on there, your maps, anything you need to, make your flight easier would be suggested to put on your iPad. And also, you need a mount for that iPad. So a mount to put it on the window. Those mounts are pretty expensive. They cost anywhere from $70 to $150 for those mounts alone. So that's another cost. You need your iPad. Your iPad mini or regular iPad costs anywhere from $200 to $600. If you get it secondhand, perfect. So that adds up to the cost too. So you need your equipment, your gear to make sure your flight is a bit easier. If you don't have gear, if you don't have equipment, you can't really fly without headsets. You got to be able to talk to the towers, the different frequencies. You got to be able to navigate all that. You can't fly without it. I mean, you can, but it just makes it a lot harder. So that's another thing, gear. So for gear, I'll put about $700 alone for gear. That's on the low end. If you don't have an iPad, which most people do, you have an iPhone, you can use your iPhone. You can get away with it, but $700 just for gear alone. So the next thing I want to talk about is your flight hours, okay? Now your flight hours is how much you pay for your plane, all right? Not including fuel, not including your instructor, just the plane by itself. Some of the plane comes wet. Wet means that's the price with fuel, and some of the planes come dry. Means that's the price without fuel, meaning you put fuel by yourself. So a wet price is pretty good. Hopefully it's, decent. Or usually most occasions you find a dry price. If you're going to a university or, any of those big schools, you will find usually they come wet because they just put everything into the package together and it's more structured. So it comes like that. Now, I'll give you my price. Now, it's not the same everywhere. My price was a bit different because my school has a bit of a block rate. So that means if you purchase a big amount of block time, you get a discount. So if you give a lot of money up front, they'll give you quite a discount, or, depends on, what they structure for you. So for me, I fly a Cirrus aircraft, which is, I don't like to say this, but they say it's the luxury of training aircrafts. Yeah, it's a nice aircraft. It has AC and all, but I didn't pick it. It's my instructor who has a great relationship with the school, and he recommended me go that route. So the Cirrus SR20 that I have is usually a 175 to 195 per hour just for the plane dry, okay? But since I gave so much down to do my private, they brought it down to 150 an hour. So 150 an hour compared to 180 is pretty good. So you're saving about $30 an hour. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. You're saving $30 an hour to give a big chunk down. Think about it, 30 times 100, you're saving $3,000 right there just by, putting a big chunk down. So it might cost more in the front end, but in the long run, it's actually saving you money. So if you ever get an opportunity like that to where you can give a lot down, do it, because it's going to save you money in the long run. It makes more sense to do it that way. Now, find the best deal you can on an aircraft. It's just training, right? You can fly a Cessna, you can fly a Piper. If you can fly one for 120, it doesn't matter, if it's all manual, or you have the G1000, whatever you have in there, it's gonna get you your same private pilot's license. So if you can save money based on what kind of aircraft you have, I would do it. So definitely look into the aircraft, different schools in the area, and go from there. Now, your next cost is your instructor fee. So you have an instructor who's going to charge you for his time or her time. So an instructor is the one who's going to teach you. They're FAA certified to be able to teach you how to fly the plane, do maneuvers, how to train you to become that private pilot that you're looking to be, or instrument, commercial, multi-engine, whatever you're going for. You need an instructor to teach you how to do that. So instructor prices range from wherever you are in the region, California, Arizona, where I'm at, Florida, it all is different ranges. My instructor charges me $75 an hour, and that's a discounted price because I gave him, a chunk of money up front. So instructors can be anywhere from $50 an hour to anywhere to $100, even higher sometimes. So it just depends on what you find. And if you're going part 141, your instructor is usually included in your full price, your full package. So these are mainly part 61 price, I'm telling you, but it's not that different from the part 141 in a total price. They charge you everything, one fee up front. Part 61, because it's on your own pace and you're doing it on your own, you can usually make it, flow when money's available, kind of thing. So, like I said, two different pathways to do it, but it gets you to the same end goal, which is commercial pilot. And lastly, I would, put everything, all this in together. This is like your transportation, your gas, hotels, living, if you have to move, school fees, insurance. things like that, things that are like on the lower end. But it adds up, when you're paying gas to go 20 miles each way, or, however far you, everything that actually accounts to you. For me, I would just put another, these are like more monthly type of things, and it depends on your lifestyle and how you live. I have a family of six, six children, including 2 adults, right? It's 8, but one of my kids are already gone. So it kind of helps out a little bit, but still, I still help mentor, I still got to be in their lives. And that's a big thing that I'm proud of, and I want to keep it going. And actually, that's why I'm doing this, because I want to provide more for all my kids in the future. So all those other hidden costs, those costs that we don't think about, it's part of flight school, So I'm not going to put a number to that. There could be any number, but it's based on you. The general numbers I want to go over is everything that you're actually doing for flight school. Fuel is another thing. I forgot about fuel. Fuel for your plane. If you're not, you have dry prices. Fuel can get pretty expensive. I can post a few tickets of my fuel, and I'll post it up here. I'll show you what I pay. For a 2-hour flight, I usually pay about $90 to $110, depends on the day. It's hot, you burn more fuel. When it's cold, you burn less fuel, just because the plane works harder when it's hot. It works better when it's cool. So fuel runs anywhere from about $4.70 a gallon to $5.20 a gallon for me in Arizona. And that is my fuel cost. California is sky high. I'm sure it's probably higher over there. Florida might be different. For me, it's about $5 a gallon for fuel. So all that adds up, everything that, we've talked about price wise. There's a lot of hidden stuff that you don't know, the general flight hours, all that stuff, but everything in total usually adds up to a big price, and you want to just keep it as low as possible. So with all this being said right here, my private pilot's license cost is going to be anywhere from about $18,000 to $20,000. Okay, $20,000. That's just for my private license, and I still have 4 or 5 more to get after that. So yes, flight school is expensive, but there's ways to manage it. There's ways to cut cost, and there's ways to just, do it without paying the full amount, which is what I want to talk about next, because saving money is the best. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not balling, and I need to save money. So I look for any opportunity I can to make sure that I can save as much money as possible. So guys, I'll wrap it up there. So appreciate you guys tuning in on this one. On the next video, I'll talk about how I'm affording it as a full-time dad, as a full-time employee, and how I'm paying for school. So I think that's what a lot of people want to know, is how are you paying for it? How are you able to make it work out for you and your family? So that'll be on the next video. Make sure to tune in on my channel, like and subscribe, support my work. If you like it, just hit that like button. So also, whatever you guys want to know, if you have any comments or questions or concerns or whatever you might have, hit me up, post it in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer those for you. Give me some stuff to talk about, give me questions, and I can make a video on it, on basically my journey as a pilot. So once again, thank you guys, and I appreciate your support. Let's make it happen. Go be a pilot. Let's do it.